jhwineconsulting.com.
California Sustainable Wine Growing Alliance.
ATP Group.
Fermentus.
Saxco.
The amazing Dr. Zines.
Tanks for Wine.
Redline Solutions.
Portacork. Fireboss.
Peschmel Winery.
Manifest Wine Labels.
National Span.
Very accessible and very easy, so it's kind of nice to be here. I actually have to speak at a conference a little bit later on, but I really like that expo because it really helps you get in touch with new technologies as well. Indeed, I make wine for a few people, and I just try to, improve them every year and make them better. And honestly, I love it. And people ask me, how can you do that? How can you live with that rhythm? And it's just when you wake up to go play every day, it's still fun. So people tell me, do you think you're going to ever retire? I say the polar opposite. I say the only thing that will retire me is health. Until health gives me the chance to work, I will work. Oak scan. So it's a system that Radu uses to actually identify and measure phenolic contents in the wood to have more consistency in your wood barrel when you start talking about different toastings and different origins, of course. It's actually a lot of details in an equation of a product that is just ultimately judged by the drinker themselves. But before that, there's a lot of details and a lot of different parts of that equation for sure. jhwineconsulting.com.
We're an alliance between the Wine Institute and COG, which is the California Alliance of Wine Grape Growers. And we started in the kind of early 2000s, and it really started as just coming together to figure out what the best management practices would be for vineyards. So we created a workbook for the vineyards there, and then that developed into creating best management practices for the wineries. And then our certification program was born in 2010. That was really just to give away for the growers and the vintners that were part of the program already using these best practices to get credit for that. And so it's a third-party program, meaning that it's audited by a third party, not us. So we accredit them, we train the auditors, but then they actually go out and are contracted by the participants. And so, if you want to take a look at this workbook, we've got about 15 chapters that range from, soil health, vineyard health to the community, and then economic feasibility is a huge part of that too. So it's just kind of a whole broad spectrum of sustainability. I studied wine and viticulture at Cal Poly, and then worked in the industry on the production side, in the cellar, in the vineyard, and then wanted to move back closer to home. And at the winery that I've been working at, we were doing this program, and found a lot of value in working on that program while I was there. They had a job opening, and I jumped on it. Yeah, so we have a new website. It's swp.sustainablewinegrowing.com. And you can go there and check out. We have tons of links if you're interested in certification, whether you're a winery or a vineyard. You can go in there, get certified. You can contact us. We have our certification at sustainablewinegrowing.com email. Feel free to send any questions you have that way.
ATP stands for American Tartaric Products. The company is about 30 years old, and we have two divisions. Wine, beer, and pharmaceutical and food is on the East Coast. We're on the West Coast here. In Sonoma, we have wine supply products ranging. We are the luxury division, so we sell to mostly tasting rooms, and we also have other divisions that have enology products, cellar products, as well as equipment. I've been with the company 7 years. Yeah, it's still a family-owned company, and so it's a great group of co-workers. So our website is atpgroup.com, and so you can go there and get all the information you need. It's a great website. You can see all the divisions on there and get all the information you need, as well as our contact information.
We do yeast and we do nutrition and functional products as well for wine. Well, there's a few of our yeasts that work in other wines as well, but we put a full range in there that are the best yeasts to use for sparkling wine, either in primary fermentation or in secondary conditioning as well. The actual growing of yeast is not so complicated. I mean, there's a lot of little nuances to growing it, but to drying it and storing it, and it's a big process that way. There's a lot of technology involved, and our practice is we've gotten it to a point where not only is it easy and reliable and stores for years, but it also is easy to use. So it's direct pitchable. You can pitch it directly into the must, which then allows you to not have to go through the hydration process, which just saves time, saves energy, saves labor, and is very reliable. Our website is fermentus.com. It's very easy. Yeah, so just fermentus.com.
Expo International is we're primarily glass distributors, but we also sell cans, we sell capsules, corrugated packaging as well, and we do heavy in consulting as far as oftentimes it's better to know what not to do versus what to do. And so we've been in this business now for close to 60 years, and certainly we know what we do and we do what we know.
You've done this before.
Yes. This one's champagne green, which is the old standard that's been around for a while. Pretty much getting replaced with the antique green bottle now, because it can go for both reds and whites, and comes in a variety of different shapes. And of course, the big move now is toward lightweight glass. And we have a big program coming up, really emphasizing and selling and marketing the lightweight program. I guess the wait staff of the world are getting tired of getting carpal tunnel pouring these heavy bottles all the time. And freight saves a ton on freight with wineries as well. Saxco.com, very simple.
With the tanks for wine, the Vino Pro tanks, they're going to replace the barrel. And how this works is we have 4 different sizes. We got a 240, 300-gallon tank. We also have a 50 and 80-gallon tank. So the thickness that's designed with the tanks, the thickness is going to give it a 2-year fermentation like you would in an oak barrel. First off, with the oak barrels, you're going to have a warehouse full of barrels, and with these, you're going to save room in your warehouse. You're going to stack them 3 high. You could get up to 900 gallons of wine in your tanks, and then also you're going to save money, a lot of money, and these tanks last 20 years. Tanksforwine.com.
So what we have here actually are solutions for winemakers, for data capture specifically. So if the winemaker wants to craft whatever he's crafting, has to have information about the vintages. In order to get the correct blends together, he has to know exactly what to place on a work order. And so the cellar workers are able to retrieve the wine barrels. So the wine barrels are barcoded. They have to be scanned. That information is given back, and so that way they make sure that they have accurate information in their hands in the labs. As the younger folks come in, especially from college, you've got some great programs like at UC Davis, and that's what they come expecting, technology. A Zebra MC3300 specifically. So it's ergonomics, it's useful for people with small hands, bigger hands, but the key thing to it is that you're able to scan a barcode, QR or 1D barcode, from anywhere from 12 inches up to 35 feet, so it's very efficient in the warehouse. Our website is redlinesolutions.com.
Cork is a cork supplier in all around the world, actually in Napa, Sonoma, Southern California, Oregon, Washington, all the states we have representatives, and also then internationally. At the end of the day, our parent company is the largest supplier of corks internationally. So these are natural corks. We also have natural corks of all different qualities, depending on price point of wine. Then we also have an agglomerated cork that we refer to as being sea wine. It has the critical CO2 extraction process, and it is also a very good product for TCA being guaranteed, no TCA. So a lot of people are looking at that product when it comes to price point of wine also. Higher end wines are obviously still using a natural cork. Wow. Now that's a tough question. A lot of it is just historically speaking, you know, your white wines will take a 45 millimeter cork and your reds will take a 49. Your high end can go to a 54 millimeter cork. For function, you could use any length of cork for your function. I would question that a longer cork would help you preserve your wines for a longer length of time. But again, historically speaking, if you're pulling that bottle of Cab, you're going to want that longer cork in it. Portacork.com.
This is the Firebaws Wildland Fire Defense water cannon. It's basically a very large sprinkler that allows you to establish an incredibly long wet line in a very short period of time. How long? What time period? Well, you can establish around 400 yards of wet line in 10 to 12 minutes with this system. And you can then actually establish a vapor dome over an area extending much further than what the water actually shoots. So the amount of area that you can cover and protect is way more extensive than any other sprinkler system out there. It's not meant to suppress the fire. It's meant to basically protect your structures, to keep the fire away from your structures when the fire is advancing. And if you want to think of a way to describe it, you could just say it's a sprinkler on steroids. Website is www.firebozz.com, and Firebozz is spelled FIREBOZZ.com.
We put a seal on the bottle that shows when the wine is the right temperature to drink. So yeah, we're talking to a lot of winemakers to make sure that their wines drink on the end level. The end consumer is drinking them how it's intended to be made. We have a patented 3-layer ink system, but basically it's temperature activated. So if the wine is not cold enough, it tells you to chill, like it says right now. So right now we're at room temperature. When it's in the right temperature range, it says chilled and the glass turns red. And then if it's below the ideal temperature, it says to chill, and you have more of like a purple thing in there. So you know the ideal temperature that the winemaker intended the wine to be drank at. Yes, exactly. But you want to be in a good mood. Actually, most people say it's like, you know, the Coors, the mountains are blue. It's a similar concept, except instead of all the Coors does is tell you when it's below a certain threshold, we make sure you're within that right threshold. We started just to the winemakers. We can license it on their current labels, or we can add our seal to it. But what we've recently started is we do have a direct-to-consumer program where we sell the seals we have a retail kit where we sell it in retail stores, wineries, tasting clubs. It's this right here, so you get 12 white and 12 red seals, and yeah, you can bring it home with you and make sure when you bring home the wine from Napa Valley that you're having the tasting room experience at home. Manifest.wine.
The amazing Dr. Zams, we manufacture all natural cleaners, and our flagship product is the Eliminator, and it prevents and eliminates harmful insects, mold, fungus, mildew, bad bacteria causing disease in the garden. And we like to say that it's a level above organic. It's all natural. There's only one natural active ingredient, which is citric acid, and the other inert ingredients are water, yeast, and potassium sorbate, it makes up about 99.9% of the product. So it's all natural. And not only that, it's a great challenge to stay organic and grow sustainable. And not only that, because it's so important, because when you are in the process or trying to make fine wine, you want to make sure that it's the best wine that it can be, and especially when it comes to the consumer. And the consumer loves great, clean, cultivated wine when it comes to their health as well, and not consuming chemicals and synthetic inputs. And that's where we come in. We protect the harvest, we protect the grapes, we protect the vineyard from those, not only from those harmful insects, the fungus and mold and mildew, but also we protect it from the chemical use. And keep your vineyard sustainable when it comes to growing and cultivation. The amazing drzams.com or drzams.com is where you can find us.
So the amazing is optional.
The amazing is an option.
So Pechmel is, the name actually comes from a cave in the Lot River Valley of France. And in the L'Occitane language, it means a cave under the hill. And my other business is I build wine caves. So we when we started the winery. We thought that was a great name for our winery because we're building a underground winery in Dry Creek Valley. You know, we typically display here, but this is the first chance I've had to walk the show and sit in on some of the seminars. So we are looking at some of the supply items for our new winery. But in general, just getting a feel for the market and where the wine business is going. Precast, and that's called cut and cover wine caves. There's kind of two methods for building a wine cave. We are a buried building, if you want to look at it that way. The other method is a drilled cave, which you use a piece of mining equipment and drill a hole in the side of a hill and create a cave that way. You know, I've always had an interest in wine. I'm a Ohio State grad, but I made wine as a junior in college, and then was involved when I moved to California with people in the wine business. The businesses I was involved with was in vineyard development and that type of thing. So it just was a natural progression for me to get into the wine business and to make a showplace winery using my cave system, which is my wife and I's big plan. So the bridge and cave business is nationalspan.com is our website. The wine business is Pechmerle is how it's so PECHMERLE winery.com.